Good morning, class. So, you guys had some homework? Visual functions? I think you guys had determining the equation of a function. No? Wake it off. Was there any problems with the homework?
Yes.
Okay. Did I cut this yesterday already? Okay. So it was exercise 8.5? 4. 8.4? Second column. Yesterday we did 8.4, the whole first one. As first one. Excluding the last one. No? The first one. Any problems? Girlfriend, you mustn't be talking now. Okay? You're still talking. How's that now feel? I feel like I'm boring today. So you got better things to do. People number 1B, any issues there? Number 2, number 1D, 1F. No. They went on to 2. 2B. 2D? No. 3B? Yes. Okay. So the 3B. $8.4, no? And this on page? What's I on now? $172, no? The X is for some reason not working. Huh? That button. There. All right. So, where do we start? We know it's going to have the form y equals x squared plus q. So, who got this wrong? Who's asking for this question? Right, go for it. What do you do first?
So A equals y2 minus y1.
y2. So, you make a is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. You all agree with that? Huh? No, how can you agree with that? What is this? This is the gradient formula. When do we find the gradient? Is it a straight line? No. So this formula is not applicable in this case. You understand? Okay. So you got y is equal to ax squared plus q. We know what q is. Q is going to be? Q is equal to 9. So y is equal to ax squared plus 9. Try to calculate a, we substitute another point that's lying on this graph. So at this point, you're going to substitute negative 3 and 0. It's a x and a y. So 0 is equal to a into negative 3 squared plus 9. Negative 3 squared is positive 9. Take it over the equal sign, becomes negative 9. Divided by negative 1, by negative 9 both sides, so a is negative 1. Therefore, y is equal to negative 1x squared, or negative x squared, plus 9. Okay? Number 3D. Number 4B. Huh? Yes. 4B. Which page is on? 197, 179. That's X. Alright. Determine the equation of the graphs. Each one is of the form y is equal to x squared plus q, y is equal to x squared plus q, y is equal to a over x plus q, and y is equal to, or y is equal to a times k to the x plus q. So what type of graph is B? Straight line. So which of these formulas will it be? First one, the straight line. So y is equal to x plus q. What is q? The y-intercept. And what is the y-intercept here? 0. So q is equal to 0. So y is equal to ax. So we still need to solve for a. So what do? We substitute 3n negative 2. Not so? Remembering this is n, x and a y. So negative 2 is equal to 8 times 3. To get a on its own, I divide by 3 both sides. So a is equal to minus 2 over. So what's the equation? Y is equal to negative 2 over 3x. So where did you go wrong here? Y is equal to x squared plus q. But what type of formula is that for? Which graph is that? A parabola. A parabola. It's a quadratic function. Okay? Then D, any issues with D? 3D? 3F? Yes? Okay, exercise 8.4 on page 172, the exercise starts on, and this is number 4. Okay. Again, we are told that this equation is one of those 4 listed in the introduction to the question. So which one of the 4 is it going to be? The last one. Why would it be the last one? Because what type of graph is this? Exponential. So y is equal to a times k to the x plus q. Who asked this question? Right? What did you write down first?
I said Q is equal to negative 1.
Q is equal to negative 1, yes, so it's your horizontal asymptote, absolutely correct. So y is equal to a k x minus 1, yes.
Substitute 0 and negative 2.
So you substitute 0 and negative 2. You then get negative 2 is equal to a k to the 0 minus 1, yes.
A is equal to negative 1.
Yes, then anything at the power of 0 is 1. 1 times a is a, so a is negative 1. So y is equal to negative 1 times k to the x minus 1, yes. You substitute 1 and negative 4, then remembering that's x and a y. Negative 4 is equal to negative k raised to the exponent 1 minus 1. You take it over, becomes minus 3 is equal to minus k. K is equal to 3. So therefore, y is equal to negative 3 to the x minus 1. Why? Because the a, there's an a value here. And the a was negative 1. Can you see that? So there's negative 1 times, in other words. The same thing. Okay. G for G for H. Yes. Which one of the four cases would this be? Hyperbola. Which is that one? Not so? How do we know it's hyperbola? It has two asymptotes. Horizontal and vertical asymptote. The equation is y equals a over x plus q. Who asked this question? Right, go for it. Q is equal to negative 2, yes?
I think A is going to be negative.
No. Your equation now reads y equals a over x minus 2. Right, so what are you going to do now? Huh? So you must use this here. So you're going to substitute another point lying on this graph, which is negative 2 and 0. So you're going to substitute negative 2 and 0. Remembering that's x and a 1. So 0 equals a over negative 2 minus 2. Okay, so what do you do now? You get over the equal sign, so it will be a over positive 2 now equals negative 2 over 1. So what do I do? Cross multiply. A times 1 is a, 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. The equation is y equals negative 4 over x minus 2. Okay? Any confusion here? No? Sorted? Alright. So that basically brings us to the end of that exercise, 8.4. We've done most of the sums in this exercise. Okay? So, we spent a lot of time on it, so please get it right. So your next heading is interpretation of sketch graphs. Interpretation of sketch graphs. Here's the graph. Let's make a rough sketch of this here. This is example on page 175. Example on page 175. Pause the video at this point. Please write down the questions as well. Okay, so we're looking at the example on page 175, interpretation of graphs. We are told that look at the graph of y equals x minus x squared plus 1 and y is equal to x minus 1. So the first graph is the hyperbola graph. Can you see that? Well, the second one is your straight line graph. Can you see that, people? So the question says find the coordinates of A, B, C, D, and E. So it's quite a bit that you need to do. So it says, so we start at A. Let's go at A. What is A? A is the y-intercept of the quadratic function, your parabola. Not so? So how do you calculate your y-intercept? I'm going to put here 4a. How do you calculate your y-intercept? Your y-intercept, we let x equal to 0. And it's for the equation of y of the parabola. Just put here, normally it's a f or g or whatever. It's a parabola. Okay? So we say 0 equals, that's the equation of the parabola. Negative, no. X is 0. So y is equal to negative 0 squared plus 1. Just give me an answer of 1. But I haven't answered the question. No. They want the coordinates of it. So therefore A would be 0 and 1. You guys understand? Okay. Let's look at B. How are you going to calculate B? How are you going to calculate B, people? What is B? B is the y-intercept of the straight line. So how do you work out the y-intercept? Same, we let x equal to 0. And that's the equation of the straight line. So work out B for me quickly. Okay, so what do we have? Y equals 0 minus 1, which is negative 1. Therefore, P would be 0 and negative 1. Okay, you all agree with that? Let's look at C. Well, what is C? X-intercept of the parabola as well as D, not so? D is also the x-intercept of the straight line. But if I calculate the coordinates of C, I'll pick up D immediately. Not so? So I'd rather use the x-intercept of the parabola. So this is for D and C, or C and D. That is your x-intercept. Well, how do you calculate your x-intercept? We let y equal to 0, and that is for the parabola. Not so? So what do I say? 0 equals negative x squared plus 1. So solve for x for me quickly. So we say x squared is equal to 1. If I introduce square root, what must I not forget? Plus minus. So x equal to plus minus 1. So 1 is the plus and 1 is the minus 1. Not so. But have I answered the question? No. So therefore, C would be, you see the positive one or the negative one? Negative. Negative part for x-axis. Then of course D is the other one. What is E, people? How do I calculate E? What is E to us? E is the point of intersection. How do we calculate the points of intersection? We say the parabola. You see at this point here, E and D, the two graphs or the coordinates of the graphs are equal at that point. Can you see that? So what I do is I say the two graphs equal to each other. The equation is straight. Can you see here? We have y is equal to negative x squared plus 1 and y is equal to x minus 1. So if that is your two equations, I'm going to then do simultaneous equations to calculate them. Can you see that, people? You have y equals negative x squared plus 1 and you have y is equal to x minus 1. If this is equation 1 and equation 2, what would we do? We substitute equation 1, which is negative x squared plus y, into equation 2. Not so? So do that quickly and then you solve for x squared quickly. Right. So when we say the two graphs equal to each other, we are doing simultaneous equations. So that would give us negative x squared plus 1 is equal to x minus 1. Since it's quadratic, it becomes a quadratic equation. Or it is a quadratic equation. We'll solve for x now. We're taking everything to the right hand side. Could have taken everything to the left hand side, doesn't matter, then you would have to divide by negative 1 anyway. Not so? So then your x squared is negative. So quadratic. So you've got an x and an x. It's going to be 2 and a 1. The 2 is going to be positive and negative. So in other words, that x plus 2 is equal to 0, x is minus 2, or x minus 1 is equal to 0, x is equal to. Why do I have 2 points? Why do I have 2 x's? Because there is 2 points of intersection. Can you see that one is already defined at 1? That is why I got this here. Can you see that, people? However, the one I'm interested in is that one. So that is on the negative part of the x-axis. Can you see? So how do I calculate the corresponding y value? I substitute this x is equal to minus 2 into either the equation of the parabola or the equation of the straight line. Okay, let's go with the straight line. So y is equal to negative 2 minus 1, which is negative 3. If I had gone with the parabola, it would have been negative 2, all squared is 4, and then negative in front of it will give you negative 4. Negative 4 plus 1 is negative 3, which still confirms that this is correct. So, when I do the substitution back, it can be in either the parabola or the straight line, doesn't matter. You guys understand? But as long as the x value is right, the corresponding y value will be the same. So the coordinates of E is going to be negative 2 and negative. Okay, as you can see, I'm populating this diagram and I'm just erasing my calculations. Why? Because I want to keep the diagram in focus. Okay. You don't do the same in the exam, no? You don't delete your answers. Okay, the next question says, calculate the distance of AB. Calculate the distance of AB. That should be simple. So the length of AB, if that is 1, from there to the origin is 1. And from there to there is 1. So then what's the length of AB? 2. Or I can say the top one minus the bottom, which will give you 2 units. You all agree with that? That is AB. If that was 1 and that was 1, of course it's going to give you 2 at the end. Okay. See the distance GH. The distance GH, if the distance of OF is 3, they want this length here. The length of GH, if the length of OF is 3 units. Okay. Now, whenever you're calculating a distance between, okay, I'm going to show you 2 ways of doing this, okay? So the first method is, I'm going to calculate the coordinates of G. Okay? I'll calculate the coordinates of G. At G, as it stands there, what do we know? G is going to be, what's the x value of G? What's the x value of G? If this is 3, then what is the x value here? What's the coordinates of F? Huh? Negative 3, yes. Not so why? Because it's on the negative part of the x-axis. So what is your x coordinate of G? Negative 3. And some y value, not some. How can I calculate that y value? By substituting negative 3 into the straight lines equation. Not so. You calculate the corresponding y value. Then you do the same for H. What's the x value of H? What's the x value of H? Negative 3. And some y value. How do I get the y value? By substituting negative 3 into the equation of the parabola. Right? Because H is now lying on the parabola. Not so? So do that for me quickly. And then you'll be able to read the distance off from me. And I'll show you how to do the other method now as well. Right. So once you substitute negative 3 into your straight line, you got y is equal to negative 3 minus 1, which is negative 4. Not so? Then on the other hand, you got y is equal to negative into negative 3 squared plus 1, which is negative 8. Is that correct? So if this coordinate here is negative 3 and negative 4, and this was negative 3 and negative 8, then what is this length here? GH. So therefore, GH is going to be the top graph minus the bottom graph. Not so? So it's going to be minus 4 minus 8. Which gives you an answer 4 units. You all understand? Is there any confusion there? Marja, you look very tired today. You're not tired. My eyes lying to me. Yes, okay. Do you guys understand? Otherwise you could have used distance formula here. You'll see you'll get the same answer. Why could I have done this? Because your x values are the same. You see that, people? Otherwise there was another way, as I said, I could have done it. Show you that way as well. So that is GH there. So what I tell myself, okay, we calculate the distance between two graphs. Looking from on top, okay, there's your pretty eyelashes. Right, looking from on top. Which graph is on top? Oops. Which graph is on top? Looking from on top, which graph is on top? It's a straight line. Not so? And at the bottom is the parabola. If that line was lying here, there, then which would have been on top? The parabola, and the straight line would be at there. Can you see that, people? So looking from on top, you could see your straight lines on top of the parabola. So if you calculate GH, it's going to be a straight line minus your parabola. What's the equation of the straight line? X minus 1. The equation of parabola? Negative x squared plus 1. Why did I put a bracket here? Because of the negative. No? More than one term on your negative side. So you got x minus 1 plus x squared minus 1. So in other words, this would be x squared plus 1 minus 2. Keep GH here. Some people change that into an equation. So what is that? GH is the algebraic expression for that line, provided the parabola, straight lines on top of the parabola. Anywhere on that graph where the straight line is on top of the parabola, in order to calculate that distance, anywhere on the graph, it will follow this formula. The algebraic formula for that line. It has to be parallel to your y-axis or perpendicular to the x. As you can see, it's marked perpendicular to the x. Okay? Right. So how do I get the value of that length GH? I substitute the x value at that point. And what's the value for x there? Negative 3. Why? Negative part of your y-axis. They told us that OF is 3. So if we substitute negative 3, what do we have? GH. It's going to be negative 3 squared plus negative 3 minus 2. What's negative 3 squared? 9 minus 3 minus 2. What's 9 minus 3? 6 minus 2? So either or, you'll get the mark for the sum. The sum is worth 4 marks. Okay? Then it says the coordinates of J and K if the distance JK is 4 units. change of color. They told us that JK is 4 units. So how are we going to do this here? Now could I have applied, use the first method that we have done? Now, for C, that first method is not going to work. You need to know how this method works to calculate the coordinates of JK. Why? Because again, JK is the distance between two graphs. Not so? And in this case, the parabola is on top, the straight line is on top of the parabola. Is this, that, not this here, the case here? Is that not so? Yes. So what do I say is, okay, let's take us off here. This is now for E, P. So for JK, it's going to again be the straight line minus the parabola. The straight line minus the parabola is that minus this, which will result in x squared plus x minus 2. Not so? Again, JK is the straight line minus the parabola, the length between those two graphs. But what is JK also equal to? 4 units. Not so? JK is also 4 units. So if JK is equal to x squared plus x minus 2, and JK is equal to 4, therefore, x squared plus x minus 2 is equal to 4. Again, simultaneous equations here. Can you see that, people? The one equation says JK is equal to x squared plus x minus 2, and again JK is equal to 4. So if JK is equal to that, and JK is, of course, x squared plus x minus 2 has to be equal to 4. What do I notice now? What do I have here? Huh? Say quadratic. Yes, quadratic equation. What do I do for the quadratic equation? Solve for x. Solve for x everything. Am I moving too slow for you guys? Yes, okay. So what do I get? X squared plus x minus 6 is equal to 0. Try domain. X and x, 3 and 2, plus and minus. So x equal to minus 3 or x is equal to 2. People, why do I get 2 values? Why do I have 2 values for x? Because there's 2 points on this graph where the distance between the 2 graphs with a straight line on top of the parabola has a distance of 4. There's 2 parts of it. Can you see that? And we know it's there, and we know that it was 4 here as well. Not so? So you see that distance there is 4, and that distance 4. Later on, will that expands, then there will be a distance of 8 here, and there will be a distance of 8 on the side. Not so? And so on and so on. Okay? We already account with this value here. Not so? So which one are we particularly interested in? 2. That one. So in other words, J is going to be 2 and some Y value. Not so? So how do we get the corresponding Y value? We substitute 2 into the straight line. To substitute 2 in the straight line, we get Y equals 2 minus 1, which is 1. Okay? We know K is going to be 2 and some Y value, not so? So the Y value in this case is what? How do you calculate the corresponding Y value? You say Y is equal to negative 2 squared plus 1, which is negative 3. So there's your J and your K. Something like this is worth 5 marks. Okay? And it's so easy. Okay? Any confusion, people? Any confusion? No. Okay? So we've got 1 minute left. That example, the next example we're going to do tomorrow, okay? So for homework, I want you guys to do exercise 8.5, number 1 and number 3. Number 1 and number 3. Guys can start with it now.